Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We're here down in Southampton. We'll be catching up with Primetime Edgar. Matt, finally got you on the channel in a neutral venue, not a PDC venue or anything like that. It's been a whirlwind 12 months for you. Had time to reflect on it all?
No, it's getting worse. You know, it's getting busier all the time, which is great. But yeah, you look over it. I'm really happy with how things are going. You know, I did lose my card, but I knew at the time that wasn't the end of the world. There's a lot of things going on in the darts world at the moment, and it's nice to have a little bit of time without that pressure of the PDC hanging over all the time as well.
Going into that year, knowing that you're defending a lot of money as a player, I know Barney spoke about this as well, and he felt it was a release, the great reset, that he then wasn't worried. Is that the same sort of feeling for you, that you're not constantly worried about, I'm defending this at every tournament?
Exactly, yeah, and everyone wants to let you know what you're defending as well. You know, if you follow any media outlets, they'll let you know what you're defending, and you know what you're defending, even if you're not looking. You know what you got to do. You know what you're defending. If I didn't lose it last year, I'd have lost it this year. You know, if I'd have made the Worlds and hung on to that, I was defending a 5th round at the UK Open, a 2nd round at the World Championships. That's a big chunk of prize money coming off from 2 events. Then the Euro Tours would have kicked in as well, so other people would be taking positions in those as well. So it would have been an even tougher year the year after. And yeah, it was different. It was tough. I think the toughest part for me was the events being so spread apart. So we had like the bundled them all together, didn't they? It was like Super Series and all this sort of thing, and it was there's 3 events, there's 4 events, there's 5 events. I left my house to go to darts, I think it was 7 times in a year. I've played more competitive games this year, and it's March.
Yeah.
And I've played a lot more competitive games already than I did in the whole of last year, because we are a little bit restricted in what we can and we can't do when you've got a tour card. And maybe there needs to be something that maybe the bottom 64 of the PDC, there's opportunities that maybe they could come to the Live League and they could get time in things like the Live League. And then when you get in the 64, then you buy a stricter contract, because 64 to 128, they're getting no TV time. So do they really need those image rights? And it might be something that maybe in future changes to make more professional players, which is ultimately where the PDC want to go.
I was going to ask you about that. It's interesting you said that, because like you say, I understand why the PDC protect their brand and their image, and look, you don't get to the top of the game but if you don't do things like that. But the lower level of that 128, it is tough to earn money. Let's be frank about it. If you're relying just on PDC and a few exhibitions here and there, it's tough. So, like you say, as a player that's been in that situation, would you like it from 64 down to maybe give you more and more opportunities to go out and play and improve by playing at these events?
Definitely, 100%. If you're below 64, you're not on TV, you're not going to be seen. Your events are mostly behind closed doors. Your streaming boards will rely on other people if you're going to get onto there. They're not going to select you to be on there if you're in that 64 bracket, which means sponsorships are going to be low. You're not going to be getting those opportunities, which means you're not going to be seeing the public eye, which means exhibitions are going to be lower. So something like this would help those players to get seen. Look at some of the players. I mean, just this week, it's the first time I've seen Conor Heenan. Last time I was down here, I met Dan Reed. These players are being unearthed and being seen and to be shown to be quality dart players, and they're doing it in front of cameras. It's no secret that a lot of people that played in this went and got tour cards at Q School. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, no, agreed. On Q School, going in there, did you feel as if you in particular, one, because of what you do away from darts as well, that you put yourself in the public eye, and the fact that you lost your card, had a bigger target on your back than some of the other people going into Q School this year?
I never really look at what other people think of me as a player, because people say you're arrogant or you're confident. I just believe in what I do, and whatever I do, I believe is right. And if I don't believe it's right, I'll change it to what I do believe is right. I went into Q School 100% thinking I was going to get through, but on the same aspect, I also had the attitude that it weren't going to be an achievement, and that I was going to do something I should already have. And I think that could be a slight little bit. On the last day, I had a great last day, a couple of 100+ averages, got through and missed out on the final game. Probably on my back up a little bit, because I was playing well at Q School. You know, I lost with a 97 and 96 average in the 2nd round on the first 2 days. Gets you back up a little bit when you're looking around and it's not quite going the same thing. It's easy to fall into that trap of everybody else and, like you say, looking around the room. But Yeah, I'll be different next time, but although I do plan on not going to Q School next year, and that's because I fully am aiming for the top 2 on the Challenge Tour. So that would get me a tour card and a World Championship place this year. That's the aim, to not be at Q School next year, so we don't have to do that process again.
On Q School, it's an interesting one. I speak to as many as I can about it that have either failed or come through it. Do you think Q School is right? And I'm not saying we don't need a Q School, but in terms of what Q School achieves you, because let's be brutally honest, there is still a lot of deadwood that go there hoping to play an ex-pro, and they're willing to sacrifice 450 quid for the privilege. Now, would you like to see a promotion and relegation between the Challenge Tour and the Pro Tour, and almost Q School is your way of getting into that Challenge Tour?
Absolutely, that's exactly the system I want to see. You've got a system that's based over 1 year, you've got a system based over 4 days. Why are we using the system that's based over 4 days to give you a 2-year professional status when we've got a 1-year system where then players are playing each other on a regular basis? I'd like to see the Challenge Tour restricted to 128 players. Does not replicate the Pro Tour. I played the Pro Tour for 10 years. I played the Challenge Tour 5 events in Milton Keynes. They're not the same. There's nothing the same about them. More boards, more clustered together, less preparation time. They do the draw, they go, you've got half an hour and the games start. It's not the same. You know, you get to the latter bit, you know, I lost the first one in the last 16. Yeah. And then when they get to the semi-final, they start the next event. And I'm like, right, I need to go for some food now. And they're like, well, you're first on in the next event, so you've literally got 30 minutes and you'll be playing again in event number 2. This is about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning now, so in the afternoon, and I've been there since 8 o'clock. So there's only so long you can live on snacks and go into your table, I'll have half sandwich, I'll have banana, I'll have this, when you actually need to sit down and properly refuel and things. So you don't get the preparation the same, and there's a lot of running on fumes in that. That's a stamina test rather than an ability test, and the PDC is all about an ability test. So I'd like to see that restricted to 128 players. And then your Q schools to qualify you for the Challenge Tour. People will say, with that, what about the people that go to Q School and they want direct access to the Pro Tour? Still give them that. If you win a day at Q School, straight through. If you go by the order of merit, onto the Challenge Tour. So you can still have a daily winner go straight to the Tour. Then the daily winner will mean something. Last day, Rafferty and Josh Rock. Waste of a time game, there was both in, you know. Yeah. It didn't matter who won the day because there was both in, it didn't really change anything. Whereas them two was playing for a Challenge Tour place or a Pro Tour card place, that game would have probably been the championship playoff final, you know, the biggest game in darts. It's the last opportunity to get direct access to the tour.
Just listening to you talk about nutrition and getting things right, you remind me very much of Nico in terms of preparation. About it's not necessarily always what you do on there, it's the build up and the prep. And is that something that a lot of players at the top level aren't getting right at the moment as well? It's, yes, look, they can go and smash 100 averages for fun, but at some point, if they don't make lifestyle changes, is that going to catch up with them, do you feel?
Definitely. Michael van Gerwen is an example at the moment of, you know, this debate about who's the best player in the world. I don't get it, because we've got a world number one and a world champion who's the same person, but we've got this best player in the world debate. And, you know, you look at like Michael van Gerwen and the people say, will he reach the top again? I just think he probably is the best player in the world, but he doesn't have the capacity to do it what the PDC calendar suggests that he should be able to do that. Everyone's only the best in the world at something to a capacity. I could be the best maker of burgers in the world, and if I make you a burger now, and the only thing I've got to do is stand and make you this burger, it'd be perfect. If 50 people come in here, am I still going to give you the same quality of that burger in the same time that I can deliver that service to all 50 people? Or is some people in that service going to have a weaker experience of me serving them a burger? If there's 100 people in here, we've got an even bigger problem. I think that's what we've got. I think the calendar's grown that big that you can't do the Pro Tour, the Challenge Tour, the Pro Tour, the Euro Tour, the World Series, the Premier League, the Major. I think it's too much. You know, would you rather have Ronaldo playing on Saturday for you, who's played 7 days a week playing competitive games, or a much weaker like Ollie Watkins? Nice striker, but if he's prepared and he's built up to play that game on Saturday, I'd rather have him than someone like Ronaldo, who's 10 times the player, but he's not quite got that preparation right, and he's just been playing and he's just going to come and turn the performance over. I think that's what we're seeing a little bit at the top as well. Diary management is vital. I
was about to say, obviously the nutrition's one thing, but like you say, diary management, Peter Wright's been one that has played in absolutely everything over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't miss tournaments unless he has to. But even he says, look, I can't do it all anymore. So the byproduct of being one of the best is also, with all due respect, and I don't mean this horribly if anyone comes across, 10 grand to someone at the top is not a lot of money in terms of ranking points.
Yeah.
Let's say 10 grand is still 10 grand, but in terms of 10 grand's worth of ranking points, doesn't mean an awful lot to them, does it?
No, it's percentages as well. Because we've got to work out percentage and things. You know, I'm surprised a lot of them still do as many Pro Tours as they do. Because it's not just the time you're there, it's the day before travelling, the day travelling back, especially the ones doing the Premier League.
Yeah.
You've got media the day before, then you've got the event, then you've got to travel to the Pro Tours or the Euro Tours in between. You're not resting when you're in these airports and things, you know. And people's perception, oh, you're in a hotel, it's fine, but that's because your perception or your experience of a hotel is I go on holiday to a hotel and it's great. When you're there, so, you know, I've got 31 nights in a hotel between now and the end of April. And that could be more, depending on things like if you get through things. So, and I'm eating into that time, and you don't sleep the same. You know, nothing's the same with that. It's not as nice. You're living out of a suitcase all the time. So I think that the diary management is vital, especially if you want to hit that peak performance.
Back to you before we wrap it up.
Yep.
What would be a successful year for Matthew Edgar?
Top 2 of the Challenge Tour. That's the main goal. I'll get Pro Tour invites. You know, I'm going up there shortly.
So by the time this goes out, we'll have seen you play in a Pro Tour.
I'll have played in one. I'll be like a walking zombie because I'll probably have about 2 hours sleep between this and the Pro Tour. I'm doing the German Pro Tour as well. So I'll be going in and out the Pro Tour. For me, the Pro Tour is purely, I'm going to go and take cash. I don't care about rankings. Nothing really matters. I'm not trying to qualify for it. If I do, great. But the main thing is £750 a win.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go try steal money, you know, and that's
your price line.
that's all it is, you know, just purely steal some pots. That's all I'm going to try and do.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to enjoy that a lot more than, right, I'm defending 2 wins here, I've got to get those 2 wins, and then I can start trying to move up the rankings and things. So rankings don't mean anything to me in that sense. The main thing is Challenge Tour, top 2, because that's the only way I'm getting in the World Championship this year, and I love the World Championship. Who doesn't, you know? So that's the goal of everything. Everything else in between, I'll do loads of stuff. I've got loads of exhibitions booked in. Loving the Live League, so I'll be doing that as much as I possibly can. And like I said at the very start when I lost my card, I think people can get bored of seeing me this year because I'm going to be in pretty much everything. So,
Matt, pleasure sitting down with you, mate. Thank you very much. We'll let you get ready for the final now.
Yes, brilliant. Cheers, Phil.